Divestors play to win. I love the term divestor, honestly. I remember when I first heard the term divestor, I was so intrigued by the term divestor. Now, divesting is popularly used to describe interracial dating. I don't know why every time someone hears the word divestor or divesting, they automatically think that you're going to start talking about some interracial dating situation. But divesting really doesn't have anything to do. The definition is not in relation to dating. Divesting means walking away from toxic behaviors in your family and in your community and going elsewhere where you are treated better and you have better results, okay? That's really what divesting is, okay? So when it comes to the word divesting, the general definition of divesting is to deprive someone, meaning you are removing someone's power. You're taking their power away, their power to abuse you, their power to manipulate you, their power to put you in an environment or in a group where you're going to be treating negatively. So for example, I'll give you guys a really good example of divesting. A girl who grew up in the hood, right? A lot of abuse, fighting, violence. She decides to go to school and focus on her books, right? She's super focused on her books. She's working really hard. She's studying. She decides to get into the top-notch medical program at Harvard University. She decides to go full scholarship to Harvard University in Massachusetts, leaving her entire past behind, and becomes a doctor. And maybe ends up marrying outside of her race, who knows, connects with people of different demographics, has friends of all races and all colors. That is what someone would consider a divestor. The word divesting or being a divestor has a negative connotation to it because people associate a divestor as someone who has turned their back on their family, turned their back on their culture, and turned their back on their demographic. A divestor, in my opinion, is an ascended person that wants to have the best out of life, regardless of what avenue it's going to be coming from. One of my favorite divestors, I actually have a few, but I'm going to touch on her first, is Leighton Meester. If you guys don't know Leighton Meester, she's the person that is on the thumbnail of this video. I know her as Leighton Meester. You guys may know her as Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl. Leighton Meester is completely the total opposite of the character that she played on that 5-star TV show. Leighton Meester, as a matter of fact, was born in prison. Her mom was already incarcerated while her mom was pregnant with her. So she was born in prison, I believe. And her mom was involved in a lot of illegal activities, same thing like her father. So she was born in a prison. And she walked away from that whole lifestyle of moving from halfway house to halfway house, group home to group home, having to raise herself, and she made it to Hollywood. She made it to Hollywood. She became a phenomenal actress. She also started doing some music, and she also sued her mom because her mom was stealing money from her. And in my opinion, she's a divestor. She escaped the community that she came from. She changed the cards that she was dealt with, and she built a phenomenal life for herself. That Leighton Meester has to be one of my favorite divestors. And the reason why I chose Leighton Meester as a divestor is because a lot of times when people hear the word divestor, people automatically assume that it is a black woman who's dating out, or a black man dating out, or a white woman dating out, or a white man dating out. I don't know why people keep relaying divesting. The general term of divesting is only being relayed to dating and relationships. We need to stop misusing certain words. Divesting really is just walking away and leaving behind an environment, a demographic, or a group of people that's not serving your higher self and stepping into something better. That's divesting. And when you become a divestor, because all divestors play to win, when you become a divestor, it's not going to be an easy trip for you when you become a divestor. And the reason why is because people from your past, people from your community, people from your demographic, your family, people from the old version of you are going to want to keep pulling you and reeling you back in to who you used to be, because people usually don't like it when somebody escapes the negative, toxic demographic or family unit that was presented to them. People don't like when somebody escapes that. And a really good example of that is when you see rappers who become famous, who make a lot of money, who grow in life, who become famous. What happens? They go back to the hood, and what happens to them when they go back to the hood? I'll let you finish that off. We all know what happens to famous rappers when they go back to the hood. That's an example of why people divest, because as you move up and as you grow and you want better and you want to do better and you want to have better for yourself, what's going to happen is people are going to want to reel you back in. Okay? They're going to want to reel you back in to the demographic you were raised from, or the demographic that you came from, the negative family structure that you came from. The minute you want to do better, they want to reel you back in. So I spoke about Leighton Meester being a divestor, and I chose her specifically, and I put her specifically as the cover of this thumbnail because I want people to stop associating divesting with Black women in interracial relationships. Divesting is a general term that is used to reject the access of negative people from possessing you and having access to you, or negative situations, and moving on to something bigger and better. That's divesting, okay? Anybody can divest. White, Black, Asian, Latin. It doesn't matter what color you are. We all can divest. And divestors play to win. Now, when you're a divestor and you're playing to win, you are basically looking to burn the cape, okay, on toxic norms that you were raised around, toxic environments, toxic people, just straight up toxicity. Straight up toxic, negative, abusive environments. And we do not have the time to be around that kind of dysfunction. And we must make the decision to say, no, I don't want this for myself. And you have to be the one to get in your brain and say, I don't want this. This is a trash experience. This is a trash environment. The family's trash. This is not what I desire for my future. And then they're going to call you a divestor because you're going to walk away from the toxic family structure and never look back. And then they're going to label you as a divestor. And that's okay. But you are looking to burn the bridges on toxic norms that have been brought up, that you've been brought up with or associated with. Also, going against the grain. Changing the paradigm. Changing the paradigm. Ooh. Changing the paradigm. Changing the paradigm. When you decide that you are going to change the paradigm of your life, you are changing the trajectory of the generations after you. And that's why when somebody decides to change the paradigm, people fight you so hard when you want to. All you want to do is escape. All you want to do is escape that negative reality. You're like, I don't want this. This is not what I desire. And once you decide that you want to change the paradigm, opposition enters. Because remember, people want to play on a level playing field, okay? People want a level playing field. What that means is people don't want you above them in any way. They don't want you ahead of them. That's why a lot of older women, older men, older family members, friends from the past are always going to convince you to make bad decisions because they made bad decisions and misery loves company. Which is why certain people will purposefully give you bad advice. You see, divestors have an understanding about how their community works, and their community is only going to pull them down. So the divestor is going to start associating with everything opposite than what they've been used to because they're trying to change their paradigm. Opening up your pool to the best possibilities in all categories is being a divestor. So you're telling me that if an African American woman or a Latin woman or a white woman or an Asian woman goes against the grain of her family or his family to get the best out of life for thyself, they are betraying their community? Divestors always get labeled as betrayers of their community. And the reason why is because your community wants a level playing field. The people that you grew up around, the people that you went to high school with, they don't want you to progress to certain levels. Okay? Because they want a level playing field. Divestors are escaping toxic and dysfunctional family units, dysfunctional environments, dysfunctional people, dysfunctional men and women. You are leaving everything behind. And don't feel bad about it. Divestors don't feel bad about it because divestors are the chosen ones in their family and their group of friends and their community. And they know they have to leave people behind. They know that. Now, I would like to bring up a few popular divestors. Now, you may feel like you don't like some of these people that I'm going to name. But we're not talking about if you like them personally or not. We're talking about skill. We're talking about skill and their skill to divest, to escape dysfunction, leave the past and their families behind, and move forward. So the first divestor I spoke about was Leighton Meester, who's a thumbnail. One of my second favorite divestors is Kenya Moore. If you all didn't know about Kenya Moore's story, Kenya Moore grew up from a very dysfunctional family, a mother that despised her, tried to ruin modeling careers from her, a lot of narcissism and toxicity, but Kenya Moore escaped. She got in touch with the right people. She's gotten into fashion shows. She's won her crown. She's marked her mark in reality TV. Shaked hands with everyone, black or white. Divestors don't see color because they understand that in this life, you are going to have to open yourself to all possibilities for progress, no matter what color they are. Divestors have a clear understanding of that, which is why it's mainly African American divestors that get the most heat, where the African American community is like, oh, she turned her back on us. He turned his back on us. Do you know that Caucasian people will shake hands with anyone, no matter what color it is, in order for them to move forward? That's why they're at the top of the list, socially and economically, because they understand how to divest. Okay? So Kenya Moore shook hands with whoever she had to shake hands with to get to where she is, to excel, and to make a name for herself. One of my other favorite divestors, oh my God, you guys are not going to like these people, but I have to bring them up. Shanika Adams is a phenomenal divestor. If you don't know about Miss Shanika Adams, okay, and you guys will see her in the slideshow. Miss Shanika Adams had a very rough upbringing, and, you know, we know what Hollywood tried to do to her, you know, what hip hop tried to do to her. We all know what Hollywood tries to do to beautiful Black women anyways. They tried to break them, right? She got her whole life together. She's absolutely stunning. She cleaned up her reputation. She cleaned up her life. She healed. She did the work. And they're mad at her about it. Yeah, they're mad at her about it. Because she completely did a 360 in every single category of her life. Every category. She's a divestor. And divestor is used negatively. There's nothing bad about being a divestor. You are trying to escape the toxic unit or the toxic environment that was presented to you. There's nothing wrong with that. Another super famous divestor, and like I said, divestors play to win, is going to be Candace Owens. No, I'm not thinking about Candace Owens and her political views. I'm not thinking about, her, who she's voting for. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that Candace Owens, who was also raised in the hood and didn't have the best circumstances, that was sleeping in her car at one point, Miss Candace Owens has made it into high society. She divested. She left the past behind. She left people from the past behind. She may have even had to leave family members behind. Why? Because in order to divest and move forward, you will have to do that. That's why. Divestors require structure in order to beat the system. Structure and Order class is right around the corner. Go ahead and sign up for the Structure and Order class. Very affordable. In the description bar, also on my website. A lot of you guys are asking, what happens next? When you go on the Google sheet and you put in your information, that's early bird sign up. Okay, I usually send out the actual link to register for the class a week later, okay? It's just so I have a proper head count. So in order to divest, to win, you have to be very mentally strong, which will require you to have a lot of structure and order in your life, which I will be teaching you guys. A structure, order, resilience, discipline, motivation, optimism. Because when you decide to divest and get away from toxic family structures, toxic people, and toxic demographics, what's going to happen is people are going to try to oppose you. Why? Because like I told you guys, people want a level playing field. People don't want you getting any higher or any further than them. They don't want that. So what they're going to do is try to come against you. Whether it's through opposition, whether it's through sabotage, they are going to try their best to come against you in some way when you choose to divest. It could be a friend or family member from, I'm talking 10 years ago. And this person is keeping tabs on everything that you're doing because they want to try and ruin it. Because you escaped the toxic cycle and they don't like the fact that you got away. And this is something that family members do. They do it all the time. They do it all the time. Especially in island families. Like, I come from island families, so I literally, had to cut all of them off, because if not, they wouldn't let me progress, because they were going to always try to get in the way, do negative things, setups, phone calls, whatever it is that they need to do to make sure that I don't get to that next level. So divestors understand this phenomenon very, very clearly. Divestors play to win.